Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into the world of the entrepreneur. But we're not just talking about one person with a bright idea. We're talking about the entire system around them, the whole ecosystem that can turn that idea into a legendary success. You know, this is the question every single founder asks themselves. And the answer? Well, it's not just having a brilliant idea. It's about the environment, the support system, really the entire world you build around that initial spark. Okay, let's dive into it. So before we get into the how, let's start with the why. What's that fundamental drive, that call to adventure that pulls someone onto this incredibly demanding path in the first place? The impact here is so much bigger than just one person's bank account. Entrepreneurs are really engines for society. I mean, think about it. They're not just creating jobs, they're fostering the very innovations that define our future. And they're building this culture of self-reliance. They are a force that can literally reshape economies and push all of us forward. But, and this is a big but, that kind of impact comes at a seriously steep price. This journey is notoriously difficult. It's a true gauntlet of challenges, both personal and professional, that every single founder has to run. Let's get real about what they're up against. First up, the most obvious one, money. Yeah, forget a steady paycheck. In those early days, you are betting everything you have on a future that has absolutely zero guarantees. Then you've got the intense risk. I mean, failure rates are famously high. And it's not just the company that's on the line, it's often your own personal savings. So planning for the worst-case scenario isn't being a pessimist. It's just essential. Next up are the extreme hours. In the beginning, the founder is the engine. You are the company. And that requires years of dedication that can pretty much eclipse everything else in your life. And when you add all that up, the risk, the hours, the money worries, it takes a huge psychological toll. With everything on the line, pressure and anxiety, well, they can become your constant companions. And finally, there's the total responsibility. Every single decision, from high-level strategy to the copy on your website, it ends with you. And that's especially true in areas where you might have zero expertise. It's a staggering burden to carry. Okay, so after hearing all of that, you might be thinking, how on earth does anyone succeed? Well, the answer is simple. They don't do it alone. They tap into this incredibly powerful support network, a concept that we an an entrepreneurial ecosystem. I want you to think of it like a rainforest, right? It's this complex living system where all the different parts, the sun, the rain, the soil, they all work together to create fertile ground. It's an environment where a tiny little seed of an idea can grow into a towering tree. So let's break down the 6 key pillars of the system. These are the 6 big ones. These are the interconnected pillars that hold up the whole ecosystem. It starts with things you'd expect, like supportive government policies and access to finance. But just as important are the things you can't always see, like a societal culture that actually encourages risk-taking, and the hands-on support bodies that guide new companies. And all of it relies on the right people, or human capital, and of course, a promising market to sell to. Let's zoom in on a few of these. First up, government. A supportive government can be a founder's absolute best friend. This means creating clear, simple rules for starting a business, cutting through all the red tape, and actively encouraging growth with incentives. A fantastic example of this is Saudi Arabia's Manshahat, which is an authority created specifically to organize and support the entire ecosystem for small and medium-sized businesses. Next, let's talk money. Access to capital is basically the oxygen for a startup. A healthy ecosystem gives you a ton of different places to get it. You've got government funds like an SME bank. You've got venture capital firms that are willing to take a huge risk for a piece of the company, crowdfunding platforms that let everyday people invest small amounts, and of course, good old-fashioned bank loans. Now, this pillar is a little less tangible, but it is just as critical: culture. A society that celebrates risk-taking, that sees being an entrepreneur as a noble path, and that encourages creative thinking through education and events like hackathons, well, it's just naturally going to produce more successful founders. It's all about creating an atmosphere where it feels not just possible, but actually admirable to try and build something brand new. These are the hands-on helpers. Think of incubators as places that nurture brand new, fragile ideas, giving them office space and basic guidance. Accelerators, on the other hand, take startups that are already promising and put them through a high-intensity boot camp to just fuel explosive growth. We see great examples of this with things like the Badir program in Saudi Arabia or Aramco's Wide Accelerator. But, all the support in the world means absolutely nothing without the right people. This is the pillar of human capital. And it's not just one thing. It's a foundation that's built from a young age by your family. It's shaped by an education system that values creativity over just memorizing facts. And ultimately, it's turbocharged by experience, learning directly from seasoned mentors who've already walked the path themselves. So, the ecosystem can provide the right environment. It can give you the map, it can give you the tools, but at the end of the day, success or failure still comes down to two things: the entrepreneur themselves and the venture they are actually trying to build. And this highlights a really critical distinction. Success depends on two separate but equally important things. On one side, you've got the personal traits of the entrepreneur, their knowledge, their network, their leadership. And on the other side, you have the strategic pieces of the business, the plan, the team, the funding, the technology. You can't have one without the other. It's a recipe for failure. So let's put this all together. Let's look at a hero's tale from the real world, the story of Aramex, to see how all of these abstract ideas come together to create a legendary success story. This timeline just perfectly illustrates the whole journey. It starts with one person, Fadi Gondor, who gets inspired by a global success story. He has to navigate all these challenges, like limited cash and a massive competitor. He leverages his network, becoming the key partner for international firms. He even faces this near-fatal crisis, but he survives because he had the incredible foresight to invest in his own technology. And ultimately, he achieves a scale that very few people could have ever imagined was possible. And the result of that entire journey is captured in this incredibly powerful quote from the founder himself. It proves that the path is insanely hard, but it's not impossible. With the right mindset and a supportive ecosystem, a small regional startup can absolutely grow to challenge the giants of the world. So the ecosystem can provide the map, but ultimately it's the entrepreneur who has to walk the path. The real question is, what will your journey be? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.